How does a person vanish from a crowded bar without anyone seeing? No witnesses, no cameras, no clues. Tonight, we're diving into one of the strangest and most heartbreaking mysteries in American true crime history, the disappearance of Brian Shaffer. Brian Shaffer had a lot going for him. At just 27 years old, he was in his second year of medical school at Ohio State University. He was intelligent, ambitious, and had a warm personality that drew people in. Friends described him as charismatic and kind-hearted. He also had big dreams. One day, he hoped to become a doctor focused on tropical medicine, traveling the world to help others. But beneath the surface, Brian's life had been shaken. Just 3 weeks before his disappearance, his mother, Renee Shaffer, lost her battle with a rare form of cancer. The loss devastated him. Family and friends noticed that although Brian tried to keep smiling, grief weighed heavily on him. Despite the heartache, Brian pressed on. He stayed focused on his studies, leaned on his girlfriend, Alexis Wagner, and tried to enjoy life as much as possible. Spring break 2006 was coming up, and Brian and Alexis were planning to fly to Miami together, a much-needed escape. On the evening of March 31st, 2006, Brian and a friend, Clint Florence, decided to celebrate the start of spring break with a night out. They began at a few local bars, drinking heavily. Later, they met up with another friend, Meredith Reed, who offered them a ride to their final stop, a popular college hangout called the Ugly Tuna Saloona. Security footage captured Brian, Clint, and Meredith riding the escalator up to the bar's second-floor entrance at around 1:15 a.m. Inside, the place was packed. Loud music, laughing, crowds everywhere. Brian was seen talking to two young women near the entrance, smiling, seeming relaxed. That was the last confirmed sighting of him. As the night wore on, Clint and Meredith tried to find Brian, but eventually assumed he had left on his own. They called his phone, no answer. They waited outside. No sign of him. At closing time, when the bar emptied, Brian didn't appear. Still, friends weren't immediately alarmed. They figured he might have headed home or met someone else. But when Brian missed his flight to Miami with Alexis, a flight he was excited about, everyone knew something was horribly wrong. Brian's father, Randy Shaffer, filed a missing persons report. Columbus police launched an investigation immediately. First stop, the Ugly Tuna Saloona. The security footage was crucial. And what they found was chilling. Brian is clearly seen going into the bar, but he's never seen coming out. The only public exit, the escalator entrance, was covered by cameras. Other possible exits were either locked or under heavy surveillance. It was almost as if Brian had simply vanished into thin air. Investigators considered every possibility. Could he have slipped out disguised? Could the cameras have malfunctioned? Was there a hidden exit no one knew about? Extensive searches were conducted. The bar was combed top to bottom. Stairwells, utility rooms, storage closets. Police even brought in cadaver dogs to sniff out any trace of foul play. Nothing. Outside the bar, officers checked alleyways, roofs, and nearby construction sites. At the time, there was heavy construction in the area. Some thought Brian might have fallen into a hidden hole or been injured somehow, but no body was ever found. Theories soon began to swirl. Some believed Brian chose to disappear, overwhelmed by grief, seeking a new start. Others suspected foul play, possibly involving someone inside the bar. There were even whispers that Clint, the friend who had been with Brian that night, knew more than he admitted. Clint hired a lawyer early on and refused to take a polygraph test. He was never named a suspect, but his reluctance to cooperate only fueled speculation. Over the years, tips came in from all over the country. There were alleged sightings in Michigan, Texas, even Sweden. Each lead was investigated. Each one led to a dead end. Brian's phone remained inactive, his bank account untouched, his social media silent. It was as if time had simply frozen for him on that spring night. Brian's father, Randy, never gave up hope. He posted missing posters, hired private investigators, and pleaded with the public for help. He even created a special phrase with Brian, Pearl Jam, a code word, a message only Brian would recognize if he ever heard it. But Randy would never find out what happened. In 2008, just 2 years after Brian vanished, Randy tragically died in a freak accident, a fallen tree during a windstorm. Today, nearly 20 years later, the disappearance of Brian Shaffer remains one of the most baffling cold cases in American history. No one has been charged. No new evidence has surfaced. No answers have been found. Where did Brian Shaffer go that night? Was it a tragic accident, a planned escape, or something far darker? Until someone breaks their silence, the mystery of Brian Shaffer will remain unsolved. Thank you for watching. If you found this story haunting, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell for more true crime deep dives.